Welcome, everybody. Thank you for joining us today. My name is Becky Megas, she, her pronouns, and I am the founder and chief care connector for Women in Sustainability. And thank you for joining us as part of our Community Voices series. Today, this is an opportunity for our members to present on a topic that is around their expertise. Women in Sustainability, for those who are new to us, is an inclusive social and environmental justice nonprofit that is dedicated to caring for the people that care for the planet through community advocacy, resources, and education to create a sustainable and equitable future through the feminist viewpoint and feminist leadership. Women in Sustainability strives to create a safe space for like-minded and diverse individuals to create purposeful connections and conversations. All are welcome in our community. I'm going to go ahead and introduce Ashley. Ashley DePaulis is an embodied success expert whose unique brilliance is in understanding the mind-body-spirit relationship and bringing that into the workplace to improve business. She believes that by prioritizing well-being, leaders and employees can achieve professional success without sacrificing their relationship or health. Ashley helps women play and thrive in leadership by taking better care of themselves and their people by strengthening resilience, success, and social emotional connections. Please help me give a warm Women in Sustainability welcome to today's speaker, Ashley.
That makes me want to clap. Thank you for that introduction. I'm happy to be here with you all today and sharing. Like Becky said, this is going to be a very interactive presentation. I have a plan, but I'm completely okay with going off script and serving you in the best way that you need to be served. I've seen in the chat people talking about work-life balance, being more active, that they feel stressed or overwhelmed. And the theme for today's webinar is all about getting out of your mind and into your body. So giving your mind a rest with recess. Because what I've seen all along in my line of work is that we're all up here in our head and we can't shut off our mind. And part of moving out of that space and finding more ease and deep rest is connecting to the body. It's connecting to our nervous system. So we're going to play with some of that today, along with some other things to light up your inner child. So what I wanted to really start with is to drop into this space and connect to that body, connect to your heart, because that's when we can express in a bigger way. Our body is an instrument. It's a tool for our expression. And we can see in any moment when we're paying attention, if we're collapsed and how that affects our energy. And then if we open up and how that changes things. So we can use our body to shift our state of being. So just to drop in, I want you to place your hands. You can place them up on your thighs. That just sends a single signal to your nervous system that you can relax, that you can leave your to-do list to the side for now and be here in the present moment. So we'll just start with a few breaths, and I actually want you to audibly use your breath in a surrender sigh. So that also sends a signal to your nervous system that you can relax. So we'll breathe in through our nose. Breathing out, let a big sigh. And breathe in, inhaling through your nose. Big sigh out. You might notice that breath moving all the way down to your sit bones, breathing in through your nose. And audible sigh out. Just inviting that ease and peace into the body. It can be like a little bit of rain falling down over your head as you invite in that ease and peace. It comes down through that head, behind those eyes, behind that mouth, down behind that throat, bringing that connection to your heart space. And you can just place your hand, if you'd like, over your heart just to feel either that heartbeat, your breath, your aliveness, where your energy lives in your body. As you move down from that heart, relaxing that diaphragm, you might find where you're clenching in your belly, let it relax. Down into your hips, your glutes, your thighs, your hamstrings, behind those knees. Down those shins, those calves, your ankles, your feet. And opening up those feet to connect with the earth. Getting any wiggles out that you still have in your body, any clenching, whether it be in the forehead, the eyes, the jaw, the fists, the belly, the back. And if you have your eyes closed, you can open them now. And we're just going to do a little movement side to side. Any more wiggles? You can give a shake to those hands. All right. So here we are in this space. I'm going to share my screen as we get going. Okay. So we're going to skip past this because we're giving our mind a rest with recess today. So for the purpose of presence and productivity. So the recess effect. So I am on a mission, just like Women in Sustainability is on a mission, to infuse work with more playfulness. Because the way that we work, as you know, is not sustainable. It's not sustainable for our own health, our relationships, because we tend to skew into overwork and we end up undervaluing, whether we mean to or not, we end up undervaluing our health, our relationships, and we're kind of scattered. Our energy is scattered all over the place. So your true power is within that body. And so we want to connect that body and that mind together so that you're not running around like a brain taxi. Your body is not a brain taxi. So moving out of the head into that body helps you build healthy, sustainable habits that make you happy. And it leads to longevity, not only in your work, but your life and your health. Play is that source of aliveness. It connects you with your inner child. Your inner child has a big piece to play in this because our inner child can be what causes self-sabotage. So we're not going to deep dive into that today, but it is why we want to invite in curiosity and playfulness. And then the piece with the mind connected with the body is that it brings presence. You likely felt after we did that little drop in a little bit more presence. So we want to choose, we have awareness of when we're not present, and we want to be able to choose activities or little things that can bring us into the present moment. Okay, A quick about me, just so you know why this work is so important. So when I started my business long ago, I was working primarily as a personal trainer and health coach. And I was seeing clients who had injuries and health challenges. And one of the biggest things and what paralleled in my life and my experience was women specifically, were burnt out. And this is when burnout was not popular as a term, and they were showing up low energy, lots of fatigue. So that was either because they were overworking and weren't focusing on ways to support their health, or they were overtraining in life through athletics and sport. And so that was draining their energy. So they, on either end, they weren't receiving the support they needed. My experience was that I kept running through the cycle of burnout because I had PTSD, didn't know it. And so I would use work and I would use training, so athletics, to exhaust myself, though that is not at all restful in any way. It was the only way I found that I could turn off my mind. So being in that headspace all the time, being busy, being always on, it's like I had to exhaust myself just so I could rest. And I want you to be able to access your superpowers, your creativity, your flow, your curiosity, your playfulness. That was the one thing I was always able to connect to during those times. So we're going to do that now. I want you to go on a little scavenger hunt. I actually can't see the chat at the moment, so I'm going to have Becky kind of be in charge of what's coming up here. So you're going to go on a scavenger hunt. And we're going to do this really quick, no more than 60 seconds. I want you to get up, find something in your space that brings you joy, makes you feel alive, connects you to that inner child, makes you feel playful. Okay? Ready, set, go.
I'll start reading them out as they come into the chat.
Awesome. And I can only see, I wish I could see everybody, but I can only see a few select people. So you can show your object when you get back.
Show it and post it in the chat too. Silly, yours is hard to see because of your background blocker. Oh, there you go. We got a disco ball in here. We got puppies. Got a sunflower. More puppies. Those who don't have dogs. Yep. Elizabeth and I discovered last night that our cats look very alike. For those that don't have their camera on, post in the chat. What did you grab? What's something that brings you joy? Ooh, small pot for starting flower seeds. Makes me feel fun and creative. Yeah. And especially right now, I think thinking about a garden sounds wonderful with it being still so cold.
Mm-hmm.
For those that live in Colorado, or who don't live in Colorado, Colorado's really cold right now, which is really rare for us this time of year.
Lots of snow. Coming.
It keeps coming. It's snowing this morning. Devin has her yoga mat. Dawn has sunflower from a street vendor while they're stuck in traffic. I love that. Almost glad sleeping baby. Headphones because I love to dance.
Love a good dance break.
Yeah, hiking boots. Caricature. Missed that one. Hold on. Caricature of her daughter roller skating at the beach around the age of 4. Meg had said she loves art and love artwork, and Displayed is a neat company with gorgeous images. Just got a new one to admire last week. Got a kitty cat from Donna. Love it. I think that's what we have.
Awesome. So there's a reason that you chose these specific items, I'm going to share. I actually have like a little toy box. So you can start creating your own toy box if you would like, with items that can just, when you're feeling like so serious and you need to kind of let go of stress or move that energy out of your body. Of course, movement can help with that, but I have like little headband, which I loved wearing these when I was a kid. So there's something about all these items that bring me joy. Funny things, like one of my friends gave me this little pocket that said, "That's what she said." So like being playful and joking around. And you will discover today what your play persona is, and you might even connect with a few different ones. So I just have a lot of like super silly things. So I encourage you to build your own little play box, have it near things that excite you and bring you alive. Okay. I don't know why this isn't advancing. Can you advance it? Oh, wait, let me see. Okay, so productivity guilt. This is the fun one. Becky can pull up the poll here. So productivity guilt is when we will feel bad when we aren't working, achieving towards our career. And I see this come up a lot with women, especially, that we need to, it's a habit that we need to and want to break. Some of us have been able to break it, and some of us have been there, done that, and want to quit. And then some of us are still working on it. And then sometimes we'll catch ourselves in it, like, oh, I am feeling bad. How do I shift out of that feeling? So we have these coming in. Yes, it's a habit I want to break. Sometimes, often when I feel like I can't say no, that's a big one. No, but I've been there. So we're kind of all over, but we're skewing a lot to, yeah, it's a habit that I want to break. And a great way to manage productivity guilt is taking breaks. So allowing ourselves to take small breaks throughout the day, that can allow us to begin feeling safe and like the world's not going to collapse when we're not working or doing something, or, you know, following the path of like, I need to make sure my house is clean and all that other stuff that can come up here. So the reason this is important as well is because it makes it hard in this space to experience deep rest. And in deep rest, that's when we heal. That's when we can be most creative. That's when we can find states of flow. If we're often in that productivity guilt cycle, then we're on that road to burnout, anywhere on that path. So there is such thing as chronic play deprivation. One of the biggest things I found with my clients was that they, even if they were doing, if their work at one time was fun and joyful, it kind of lost that luster. And it was like, how do we get back to it feeling fun and joyful? Or, so there's that scenario, or there was the scenario of I'm just not engaging in any type of play or enjoyment at all because I am overworking or overtraining, and like really, I just find myself always pushing through. So these are some of the symptoms of chronic play deprivation. I'm not going to read them all out for you, but you can recognize like, oh, this is maybe how it's showing up for me. A lot of times it's that like cloudy mind, feeling fatigue, the poor self-regulation. So that's not knowing how to regulate your own nervous system. So you might be often in states of reacting to things, like you're just trying to get through to the next thing. I'm pushing through to the next thing. Does that, even though I can't see the chat, does that sound familiar? Okay. So when we allow ourselves to recess, to de-stress, it lets our brains and bodies, it invests them together to relax, rest, recharge, and minimize burnout. So what we're going to do here is have a little play break. I call it somatic play because we're going to engage our brain and body together, and we're going to shake off any stress. So it's important to know that even if you didn't have a stressful event happen, stress can build up in the body just from being on a Zoom or multiple Zooms throughout the day. Your mind needs to offload all the input that's coming in. So oftentimes, like, we have so much more input than we have output. So moving the body can help with that output. The breath can help with that input output. So it's that cycle of like giving and receiving, moving that energy in and out. So we're going to stand up. As long as you feel good standing up, you can stay in your seat if you want, but I encourage you to stand. I like Becky's already dancing. So it's okay if you don't see my whole body, because we're not doing any kind of like big workout here. But what I want you to do is just find your feet on the floor. If you can take your shoes off, awesome. That's great. And I want you to bring a little shake to those legs. Little shake to the legs. You can even find your voice here if you'd like. So when we bring a shake to the body, that gets our nervous system, our fascial system, it gets all the systems that are moving, blood, oxygen, lymph, engaged here. You're going to take a little twist. Some of you are already there, side to side, bring out those organs. Just get that spine involved. These are all simple things that we can do. Connecting to that breath. And then come back center, and I'm just going to have you tap your heels to the ground here. Just shaking everything off. And then coming to stillness. We're going to roll those shoulders up and back. And then we're going to roll them forwards. And then you're going to take your feet wider than hip distance. So there's a lot that sits in our hips. And a lot of times when we're holding tight in our hips, we find it hard to move forward in our experience. Like, we might just be holding steady in one place, even if we're not really comfortable being there. So we're going to bring some hip circles in. Make it as big as you want. You'll get into those hamstrings and those inner thighs a little bit. And then let's switch directions. Also circling, whether seated or standing, can really help rebalance your nervous system. And then come center and just shake it out. Give your body, so this isn't about doing any movement right. It's about what feels good to you. So always connecting back to like what feels good in my body for movement. So I just want you to take a sway side to side. It can be big or small. You can add the arms in. You can take them overhead. I always think of this as like one of those street corner, whatever they blow air in, and it's trying to send you in a direction to buy a car. You know that thing I'm talking about? And then just slowly change the movement, maybe slow it down. Notice what that changes in your body. Maybe you feel your heartbeat a little more, your breath a little more. And then when you can, come to stillness, walk your feet in. And I'm just going to turn to the side for a second. So what I want to do is we're going to tuck. So from the pelvis, we're going to tuck the tail and then release. So it's just a little rock through that pelvis, back and forth. You can place your hands on your belly if that feels best. Just trying to release any tension from that low back. I'm realizing now I could have stopped sharing the screen. Hopefully you guys can. And then just let that go. You can shake it out from the legs. And now you're going to take your legs back nice and wide. We're going to come down, take a breath in, reach overhead. Bring it through, that breath through the center, out. Take a breath in, reaching overhead. And out through the center. Breath in. And out. And just sealing that in, hand over heart, one hand over heart, one hand over belly. You can close your eyes down. Just notice what you're noticing is what I like to say. Maybe how you feel different from when you came in to this session to now. Where you feel like I was just clenching my glutes, where you can add a little bit of release in that body just to create some space, inviting more light in, lightness, levity. And release those hands down, and you can come back to your seat. And if you just drop in the chat, like what you noticed that was different for you, if anything, from when you came into this space, how your body feels now, if there's more focused attention, more calmness. And I'll have Becky tell me about that.
Yeah, absolutely. We have more relaxed, less tension, more relaxed. Donna had mentioned she didn't realize that her hips were so tight. They really enjoyed moving. Body less tight, more loose.
Yes.
Give it a minute and see if anybody else adds anything else.
And by taking those small moments, so we can take, neuroscience tells us that even taking 60 seconds to allow ourselves to de-stress, like take that break to breathe, move, whatever it may be, that it benefits our nervous system. So the more that you can do that throughout your day, like I like to say, to build those habits in, so it can be when you have 45 minutes of focused attention, you can take 5 minutes to unfocused. So that could look like if you're reading a book or you're on screen or you're writing, whatever it may be, that's focused attention, and your vision becomes restricted. So all you have to do is like look up and out. So change to panoramic vision. That then shifts your nervous system, your physiology, and your psychology to a more rested, relaxed state. So that's one way to do it. You can do it 50-10. You can do multiple, like I'm very impromptu about my breaks, but I also build in like, okay, I'm going to focus on this for 30 minutes and then I'm going to take a break. So you can do it all kinds of different ways, ways that serve you best, ways that are going to work with how you have to work that day. Because we're not working the same every day, or at least I'm not. Sometimes I'm with clients, sometimes I'm writing. So it's like really being intentional about how we can take breaks. So your play persona. So I am borrowing these from Dr. Stuart Brown. He has play personalities. What I did was kind of take the play personality and place with it activities or ideas that are a little quicker. So it's not like I'm going out for an hour to play, or I'm going for a hike, or and all those things are playful, but sometimes we don't have that time, especially at work. So I want you to take a look at these play personas and just see what one calls out to you as being maybe your main one. I have like 3. So, you might find that, oh, this one resonates and this one also resonates. So for me, it's definitely the movement. So the kinesthetic piece, the joker, and I like to daydream a lot. So those 3 are very prevalent for me. But drop in the chat which one is jumping out to you or which few are jumping out to you. I want to know. We all want to know. Even if you want to come raise your hand and share out loud, you might even see that your play persona connects with the object that you chose, because there's always a thread, there's always a pattern. So what are our patterns?
As people drop those in the chat, I'll mention mine. I'm definitely an explorer and a collector and a director. I like organization.
Yeah, and we find too, like how these actually connect to the work that we bring into the world. So we're already being playful in ways that we might not actually recognize.
Yeah. All right. So the one that takes a short walk or dance break, how do you pronounce it correctly?
I don't even pronounce it correctly.
Okay.
I just say kinesthetic intelligence.
All right, we're going to go with kinesthetic intelligence. That was the first one we got in. Elizabeth had noted that with explorer, competitor, director, and storyteller. And she followed up with, did I mention I'm overcommitted?
Yeah, so that could be like with our self-care piece, like what one can really serve us in, having a little more focus, or what can be the thread of that focus.
Yeah.
When we do feel overcommitted.
For Sharon had mentioned she's an explorer and director, hopes that she can be out of the director role soon. Laura had noted explorer, director, and joker. Okay, I might actually crack the joke first. Anybody else want to add anything in there? And remind me where did you pull those from, Ashley? What was the resource?
So Dr. Stuart Brown, he has a book called Play and has done research on play for a long time.
Perfect. I'll send that in the follow-up resources for anybody who is interested in looking more into that. Dawn had noted at first only thought 2 of them truly resonated. Only two resonated with me, and then sat with it more and feel like she can claim all of them.
I love that.
And then we have one more, the Joker, the K word. That's what I'm going to call it. The explorer, the director, and the artist and creator. And again, also overcommitted.
Yeah, it's like, so kinesthetic and athlete together. That's why I'm
Yeah,
like,
we're just going to go with it.
So, okay. I want to speak to what our play personality can be. So I shared part of my story of, so I was I don't teach fitness classes anymore, but I did that for a very long time. And what I found, so since one of my play personalities is this active piece, I found over time, because I got burnt out by it. So it was like, I don't want to do this thing, even though it is also something that very much brings me alive. So I kind of had to go on this journey of, okay, how can this thing that makes me feel so alive, but also has me feeling burnt out now because I was doing too much. So sometimes we can end up overextending ourselves with certain things that we enjoy. So it's creating boundaries around that. Or maybe it needs to take on a new expression. So like, we just got up and moved, but I didn't bring you through a whole workout. You know what I mean? And I'm not like constantly doing that throughout the day. So it's sometimes these things that can bring us so much joy, we end up overextending. So it's like, okay, what's the new expression of that? When we do feel overcommitted, and where can we have new boundaries? Like over time, these things change and we have to allow them to change and take on a new expression. Does that resonate for people? Okay. We got some thumbs up. Okay, so play, very much a source of energy. It can inform these recess breaks and these new habits that we want to bring in. So along with what we've explored already around our play persona, like, when is the last time that you lost track of time? So that's when we really start moving into a flow state. And stress and overwhelm pinches us off from our flow state. And that's when things can feel a lot harder. Like we have to effort so much more to get things done. And we're kind of in that scramble, busy energy versus a more intentional. So productivity is a little more about being intentional with prioritizing what we're doing, prioritizing our focus, and so on. So when, like, just take a check in with yourself, and when was the last time you like lost track of time or like felt in a flow of energy? Like, has it been recent? Has it been too long? And I think we already did some checking in around like what activities that we love most as a child, but if there's anything even more to explore, you can just take a moment, either write it down, make a mental note, drop it in the chat.
Devin had mentioned when she was skiing this past weekend.
Love that. Being outdoors. So yes, connecting to nature, which I know is a big priority for many in this group, is a place that we can connect back to who we are, and feel that source of energy and aliveness.
Meg had noted, wow, I don't think I ever lose track. Yikes.
Yeah, so that's an opportunity. Which moves me into the next question. So spending time without purpose. So a lot of times people will be like, ask me like, oh, what do you have planned? Or what are you doing this weekend or any day? And it's not that I don't make plans, because I do. I have to be intentional about that if I do want to have fun with other people and make connections in real life. But a lot of times I'll be like, nothing. I will intentionally leave space to do nothing and see what arises in that space. That doesn't mean I'm just sitting on the couch. It'll just be that like I allow intuitive guidance or my inner compass to kind of take over. Like, what do I feel like doing today? What do I feel like exploring? When we deliberately allow that space, and maybe you do, but then maybe you find you fill it because it might feel uncomfortable. I find a lot of people feel uncomfortable doing nothing or having that space because they're like, I should be doing something. But it's another way, especially if we are in a creative role with our work, where kind of those eureka moments can come in, or also getting us in that flow state so things happen or unfold with more ease. And I know that can be like a hard thing to conceptualize when we're like, oh, but I have to get all these things done. You still can get them all done, but it doesn't have to be with pressure and force and like, I'm only in my head about it. It's like it's a whole, like coming to it with wholeness. And downtime, I want to make sure to say or share that downtime is like when you can get lost in the moment, staring out the window, washing dishes. It's not that you're trying to optimize every moment with, oh, I need to wash the dishes, do laundry. I'm going to listen to this podcast because like that's still like having so much input coming in. It's leaving space. Like, where are moments that you can leave a little more space for yourself? How's everyone feel about that? Okay. And I wanted to bring this piece in. So we have to adult ourselves when we're talking about self-care. And because we have the inner child, and our inner child just wants recognition, acknowledgement. The inner child does want to play. The inner child has so many gifts that they can bring you to help you upon your path. And a lot of times when your adult and your inner child aren't on board together, that's where you have that resistance. That's where self-sabotage can come in. So acknowledging anytime, I know it kind of doesn't go with this, but I'm just going there, acknowledging anytime that there is that resistance, and acknowledging, okay, you do feel fearful or you do feel this way, and just seeing that part of yourself for that, it's gonna put you in a state of resilience over that resistance when there is acknowledgement, versus a lot of times, and I'd even see clients take on the posture of like, I just want it to go away. I just want it to be done. I felt like I already dealt with this thing, and I want to move on because I have things to do. So there is kind of that push away where we're not acknowledging that part of ourselves. And again, when they can move hand in hand, there's a lot more ease there that moves us into a more resilient state. So these 6, I say 6 because hydration is on there as well at the end, are proven, evidence-based, to benefit your physical vitality and mental health. So if you can do these 6 things each day to support yourself, then you will see an improvement in your vitality and mental health. These are not anything new to you. Maybe getting morning sunlight, even in the winter, that can be, if you don't go outside in the morning, that can be looking out the window and getting sunlight through the eyes. That can be very helpful in just making you feel a lot better. But yes, of course, movement, high quality social interactions. This is something you asked about my self-care this year. It's reminding me that that's one thing I'm really looking at. And that's not to say my social interactions weren't already quality, but how can they be even more? Because things change over time. People change over time. So that's one thing for me for sure. And then this is just my thank you. I don't even know what time it is, but I know we're close to the end. Thank you for sharing this time with me. If there's anything that you want to discuss further or have questions on, I know we have an email going out, but feel free to reach out to me, either email, social media, always say hi. And with that, I also wanted to invite you can tag myself, which is just my name, on any social media platform, along with Women in Sustainability. And you can share with us like your favorite takeaway from today. I'd love you to also drop that in the chat, or you can raise your hand and come off mute if you have any questions here and now. I'd love to. I'm going to stop sharing this. That's the first thing I'm going to do.
Yeah,
Okay.
we have about 8 minutes. So if anybody has questions, please definitely pop them in the chat or raise your hand if you'd like to ask them any questions.
Yeah, and your biggest takeaway,
Yeah.
what you feel can serve you from this.
Question of, does reading a book fit into the doing nothing buckets?
Does it make you lose track of time?
I'm going to put that quote somewhere so that I always look at that. Does it make me lose track of time? The answer to that was yes.
And I mean, reading, yes, you have focused attention, so it can be an opportunity to move in and out of that focus, defocus, by just changing your vision. So, changing our vision, what we're looking at, a physiological sigh. So those are ways that I actually used to get a lot of commentary when I was in college, because I would sigh a lot in one of my professor's classes. But it's a way to offload energy that's building up in the body. So these are all, we can use our senses, our vision, our breath, our touch to check in with the body and actually de-stress on demand.
Love that. I'm waiting for a few more questions coming, but I have a question.
Yes.
We all get into the busy life, right? Like we all fall into it. I've tried to tell myself every day I'm not going to fall into that. And yet a week goes by and I realize that I have not done the things I wanted. How do we reset and remind ourselves to do these things to take care of ourselves?
Mm-hmm. So I would say one of the biggest things that I see when people keep falling into busy is that, so first, everyone uses that word. I don't actually like using that word, and our language is really big. So what word could replace busy for you? And to answer your question more specifically, a lot of times it's being intentional about how we're scheduling ourselves. It really comes down to that. Like if we're over scheduling, we're not leaving that space. So we are going to be in that energy of busy. So it's looking at how can we group certain things together that go together. Like I try to put clients all on, this doesn't always work, but all on one day, or break them up into 2 days. And so that I'm only focused on that. So like putting like activities together, leaving space. Like I like space to transition between things. I know that about myself. So I actually leave that space. So then I don't feel that it's not that I'm not doing things. It's just that I'm not in that energy of busy. Does that help?
Yeah, I love that. Does anybody have another question? We probably have time for one more, and then I have a women's sustainability question that we'll ask. And as people are thinking, if they have any questions, want to drop those in. We do have a lot of upcoming events. We do have an event next week that Ashley and I are talking about called our happiness hour. Instead of a happy hour, it is a happiness hour to come and connect with people. It is a way to not be busy and to make community. I'll be at WIS Brewing. Those are in Colorado or in Denver. It's a brewing company down by by the stadium, by the Broncos stadium, and Meow Wolf. I was like, what is the name of that place? That is at 5:30. So you're welcome to come. It is a free event. Everybody's welcome. More information at womeninsustainability.org. And we have lots of really great events that will coming up through the year. So please follow us and stay in touch. And it doesn't look like any other questions are dropping in. So I'll ask the Women in Sustainability question, thinking about the future, looking into your crystal ball and kind of thinking about sustainability and this concept around self-care and recess. What do you see for our future?
So a couple of years ago, and this was during the pandemic has been a couple of years, but one of the things I was speaking to a group, the thing that I really saw is this ecosystem of wellness, well-being, inclusive of the world around us, our environment, and how we're interacting with it as much as it's interacting with us. So finding that symbiotic relationship. So as much as we're taking care of the environment, we're taking care of ourselves and vice versa. So I really see things turning into like more of an ecosystem, including places we go hang out and connect. I think we're slowly becoming more and more intentional with how we curate spaces, curate environments, because we're realizing how it affects all of us and that we don't want to be in this busy, always on culture. And then also how we can use our own bodies, brains, nervous system, because that's how all the energy is moving through us, how we can utilize ourselves to create that shift so we're not always feeling stressed.
Yeah, I love that. And I think COVID taught us a lot about being okay with taking time back and your schedule, spending time with your loved ones, getting outside, going for walks. And I think you summed up beautifully a lot of what Women in Sustainability is about in that as well. So thank you for sharing that answer.
Yeah.
So as a thank you from us, from Women in Sustainability, we will be planting 3 trees in your name through our partnership with One Tree Planted. So you'll get a gift certificate talking about your trees. And please, everybody, help me give a warm round of applause and thank you to Ashley for spending her time and expertise with us today. So thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, so appreciative of you. Lots of thank yous coming into the chat. And yeah, we're so excited to hopefully all take care of ourselves this year, take some time, take some rest, get outside with nature. And we hope that you have a wonderful afternoon and look forward to seeing all of you again soon. And thank you all for being here.
Take recess.
Take recess.
Just 60 seconds.
It makes a difference.
It does.
Bye, everybody. Thank you.
Bye.